And do you mind if I turn on the camera? It's a little.
You can do it.
Go ahead, Cal.
Yeah.
I mean, Krista.
All right, everyone. That was an awesome Nutrilite video. With as our awesome mentor said, coach said that it's empirical data, undisputed data in regards to like how much nutrients we have in our double X. So does anybody have any experience with double X? Customer experience or personal experience? And I'm opening up the floor to anyone here or wherever.
Anybody? No. Jeremy said no. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Rod.
Hi. So over the Christmas holidays, I was back home in the Bahamas, and every dinner, every breakfast and dinner, the family would see me taking my double X. So my cousins were also there visiting, eating up our good food too. So they were like, "What are you taking? Like, what is that?" So my mom jumped in. She was like, "That's double X. I take it every day too." So based on because I put my mom on double X, now I have a cousin that wants to get on, and her mom wants to get on. So I have double X customers. I just need to get it to the Bahamas for them. So like we always say, just using your product, even sharing it because I shared it with my mom. Now she had a good experience with it, and she talked about, oh, morning times when I get up, I don't feel groggy anymore. I'm just ready to go to work. So just based on me giving it to my mom, now I have other customers to leverage based on it. Just use your products, don't be stingy, and yeah, just share it with everybody.
Awesome. Awesome.
Awesome. Anybody else?
Yeah, okay, they can see me. I use it a lot, of course, and I had mentioned empirical data, and that is you can go to a carrot or an apple and know exactly what micronutrients and macronutrients it has in it. This is more micronutrients, so you could actually measure it in the pills and also in the fruits and vegetables and everything. So I use it all the time. A guy asked me at Barnes & Noble, I think a few days back, are you guys going around saying that double X is a replacement for meals? I said, no, that's why it's called a supplement. It's in addition. But the problem with meals, even if you eat vegan or whatever,
I can do try to email you today.
Huh? Yeah, and I told him no. It's the problem with eating these days is that we don't know what we're missing. So that's why double X is there to fill in any gaps we have. So he was very excited, and it looks like he's gonna order some.
Awesome. Anyone else? No. Okay. Okay. Awesome. So thank you guys for sharing your experiences with double X. And I look forward to making experiences with double X with customers that we are establishing at the moment as well. So next on the agenda, we have streaming by Brandon.
Hi guys. I hope all you guys had a happy holidays and you enjoyed the rest and recovery with family and friends. I know I did. I got to see my sister and hang out with my kids often, to the point where like when I had to go back to work, my son was just acting out with his mommy, wishing like I was there to play with him. But no, don't press that out. But what I had to do for stream was meet and greet one with Dennis and Danielle Nafty. And the points that stuck out to me the most were, he had said, we have to establish that we are the buyer and not the seller, and prepare them to go through the process and meet our mentors. Also, we have to be able to diffuse the questions before they ask us by, I did that by relaying my own insecurities with, the way I felt in my mindset going into my meet and greet one with Kenneth, because, I had the same questions. Like recently, I had a meet and greet this Friday with my brother that I was blessed to have Kenneth, lead. And, like my brother afterwards had the same questions that I did. And we had the opportunity, my wife and I had the opportunity, to share our own story about, going through our trials and tribulations with, like our own struggle with trying to make sure that, like, we can provide for our family and our kids and everything, or our living situations, and how through it all we had our story and our desires to make a better living for our kids and family and everything. So like our own problems were minuscule in the comparison to what we really desired for our family. So I also did MG1s in which, like, we saw red flags from our prospects. Like I had one who is a good friend. He's a good friend, and he was a coworker of mine. And Kenneth and I saw the red flags. He wasn't exactly humble. Like, he was definitely hungry. He was a smart individual, but he wasn't humble throughout the process. And in the red flags, like, Kenneth expressed it to me, and I was just like, he's a good guy. I think he can really work for the business. But my wife and I addressed the red flags with the prospect, and, apologized for not, expressing the whole process to him clearly. Like, we just told him that, we had an opportunity to make more money, and we wanted to introduce him to our business partner. We didn't tell him how important our business partner was to us and our development. And, so once we expressed that, he was just like, all right, I'm sorry. And then he actually texted Kenneth and, apologized and showed that, like, he wanted to continue to go through the process and everything. But since then, I have not had any contact with him other than me contacting him to, see how he's doing, see how his family's doing. But, like, I dropped the gift in his lap, so I'm expecting him to, have that sense of urgency to come back to me and get to me, because, I'm the buyer, not the seller. And that hasn't happened. So it's just like Kenneth always tells us, just move on, keep having those conversations and getting yourself out there to build momentum, whether it's through confidence or, I guess having more people in your streamline will build confidence, because you're out there meeting and greeting and dropping a message and sharing your story and things of that nature. So that's what we continue to do. And, like, I'm just happy to be in the presence of a good coach like Kenneth, because we get to see him in the works, sharing his story, dropping a message, having MG1s. So I'm just blessed to see it and to take it in, and, to have our daily messages through him that he shares with us. And
it's very lightly put.
Yeah, he definitely shares with us. And, like, one of those messages that, like, stuck out to me is that, like, he can't do the studying for us. So, like, we have to do the studying, because, like, I see how he handles each and every MG1, and they're all different. Every one of them are different. Like with my brother, like, he was at his level. He met my brother where he was at, and with my coworker, he met him where he was at. And it's just awesome to see, like, how he gets each point across, but, like, he uses language that the prospect can understand and relate to. So that's what I gathered from my stream, and I'm thankful for the opportunity to share that with you guys. Thanks.
Good job. Good job. Thank you. Thank you, Brandon, for sharing your stream and your awesome takeaways and things you're doing in the field. And awesome. So next we have a book by Roger.
Rodney.
Sorry, Rodney.
No problem. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Rodney here. Extremely blessed to be doing book today on the Pay stage. And pretty much the book that I'm going to talk a little bit about is Believe and Achieve by BWW's very own Kulin Desai, who's a Diamond IBO.
Yeah.
And so he wrote this book, and the theme with this book, it says that on the front cover, choose to live a happy life, right? So what I'm learning so far in the book is through his experience with Bill Grid and through being a part of BWW, he recognized certain things, and he yeah, 4 laws of success that really helped him out along the way, which is 1 is the law of belief, 2 is the law of expectation, 3 is the law of imagination, and number 4 is the big one that we always talk about, which is the law of attraction. So I'm just starting this book, but just based on those laws alone, I'm super excited to continue this book. I'll just give you another quote before I give my experience about books. Another quote in this book that I really liked is folks are usually about as happy as they make their minds to be. So really and truly, happiness is a state of mind, and happiness should come from within, not necessarily external. Even though those things can make you happy, but happiness starts within. And when you're happy, then more than likely you're going to believe in your dreams and your goals, and then you eventually achieve what you set your mind to. So through reading books like this book, it has helped me articulate myself a lot better. Connecting with people, build my vocabulary. Reading on a daily basis also helps you stay more engaged, plugged in to the BWW system too, because you don't want to be that guy that's not reading and everybody else on your team is reading and you missed out on a good nugget, right? It's kind of awkward. So you definitely want to stay plugged in, stay reading. I guarantee you, the reading is not only just going to help you for the business, but the reading has helped me in other areas of life, such as professional life, even spiritual life. Even some of the books help out with, health, because sometimes we don't think about, being conscious about health and other types of awareness and things in our life, time management. So the list goes on and on and on. The point is, you read to improve yourself, and as you grow yourself, then you grow your business. So with that, I would say definitely stay plugged into the Book of the Month program. Some awesome books come out on a monthly basis, recommended by the BWW team, our mock committee. They do an awesome job. So you definitely want to be plugged into those books. So work with your coach. If you're not on Book of the Month, work with your coach to see how to get on Book of the Month. So I'll take it back to the host.
Awesome. Good stuff.
You guys got to unmute Miss Carol.
Okay.
Yeah, put her up.
All right, awesome. Thank you, Rod. Not Roderick, but Rod. Thank you for sharing what you gathered from the book and your experiences. Most definitely, happiness really does. I've been learning happiness really does start within your mind. Like, if you're not happy in your mind, you can't really portray that anywhere else. But next, we have our process huddle, which our topic will be SMS and DTM, which is sharing my story and dropping the message. So I'm going to open up the floor to anyone here to see if you guys have any experiences to share. Or in Tallahassee.
I could talk a bit. So so when I'm dropping a message or sharing my story, usually, so basically when you're sharing your story or dropping a message, you don't want to just blatantly go out and just say, hey, I'm in this business, blah blah blah, I'm doing this. You want to have a conversation with them, get to know the person, because that person may not be looking for what we have to offer. So when you share your story and you drop your message, sometimes you may get somebody who's who feels like they're in their good place right now, or they don't need, they're not need of the other business or whatever. So I know when I share my story, I always talk about how it has changed my life in the sense of it's gotten me to where I'm at now. So for instance, I talk about how while I was in college, I was looking for a mentorship. I was looking for people to help guide me to my next stage in life and further beyond. And thank God I met Sile when I was in my job, because she introduced me to Kenneth. And when I got introduced to Kenneth, he showed. I told him how they showed me another way of getting to certain goals that I probably wouldn't be able to achieve with my job or with jobs in the future. And based on that, that's how you get to see what, based on the reaction, you get to see how you want to continue with the conversation. Sometimes you may get, oh yeah, definitely, that sounds interesting, I've been looking for that too. So then you continue like, well, maybe I can't promise you anything. I can get you to introduce you to my mentors and whatnot. So pretty much it's all about, I've recently learned from my huddles with Kenneth, is that you got to be yourself. You don't want to be like a robot. You want to be yourself and talk to somebody like they're a human being and not just a person you want to just get onto your team that get points. So yeah, that's pretty much it for me.
Awesome. Anybody else?
Yes, I can also share an experience. Guys,
Yeah, we can.
awesome. All right, yeah. I just shared my story. No, it was not share my story. It was contacting one today. I realized going all the way back, from the students up to now, I realized that not all the time people ask you, hey, go to YouTube, or even based on the environment that you're in. Sometimes the location, you got to be more intentional as per the saying that the flow from the specifically will drop your message. So in this case here, I connected to the shop I at the church, and we did pretty much no catching up on every post. It wasn't really a moment for conversation really far. So it was just talk, exchange, a little brief conversation. And I just asked him what he does, and he telling me what he did. But at the moment, of course, this girlfriend was with him, and she is probably very sweet. So I just basically said, hey, quick question. Look for ways outside of what you're doing to diversify your income. Ways, like I said, ways outside of what you're doing to diversify your income. And he paused, he just thought about it. Yes, absolutely, I'm always looking. You just thinking about it, he's like, I'm always looking. And I was like, okay, no problem, let me get your contact. And I think I have something that you may be interested in. As I said at that moment, when I really thought about it, I was like, I shouldn't have said it that way. I should have said, hey, I've worked with a few folks here, I'm also in Atlanta, and they were a few shop people in the area, to expand, to pretty much develop great assets, so they don't work paycheck to paycheck. I was like, yeah, I promise you anything. Now I rethink this, what I would have said now, I'm saying this thing for you guys, you also, so y'all thought of the same thing that I did. But I don't think it's a mistake if he's ready to win, but I think it would really be much better to set me up for the MT1, So just a throw out there, always like use certain verbiage to have that posture, and at the same time you're extending the opportunity, you still have that posture. And always remember to add, like Jonathan said, I can't promise you anything. And so yeah, that's pretty much it for my experience.
Awesome. Anybody here?
Anybody have any experiences here about sharing your story or dropping the message?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, it's Brandon. Recently, I had the opportunity to share the story with my brother, and with my brother, he also has an opportunity, or had the opportunity, to kind of live my story just a bit for the past few months, because he's lived with me for 3 months now. But he definitely knows that. He knows that we're trying to build a legacy for our kids, and he sees that, and he knows where I came from, you know, because he lived with me my entire life, and like he saw me go to college and things of that nature. And like my wife shared her story as well, so like it was a lot of things that he didn't know about my wife, and you know the struggles that she had growing up, and you know her why for the business. So like we shared our story, we edified our mentor a lot, you know. So he was definitely eager to see him. Kenneth actually had the opportunity to come visit us for what was it? Christmas, yeah, right before Christmas, the 23rd. And my brother wanted to talk to Kenneth that day, but you know, it just wasn't the right time to you know have that conversation. But we shared our story, dropped the message, and definitely let him know that it was available to him, and you know he could do it as well. And you know, with sharing the story and dropping the message with him, we definitely see that he's motivated and smart and hungry. We also know that like there's just like one red flag that you know he has, and you know we spoke it over in our MG1, you know, with me, Kenneth, my wife, and him, and the MG1. And even though we let him know that that was a possible concern, he's still motivated to continue to, you know, go through the process. And I guess the red flag was that he is unemployed currently. So we suggested him getting a job so he can, you know, put his seed money into the business. And he was just so hungry because at this current moment, like, he hasn't found a job that, you know, makes him feel like worthy, you know, makes him have that desire to wake up every single day to pursue like happiness. And he feels like this job is not this job, this opportunity that we share with him is going to give him that, you know. So in our MG1 with him, he was extremely motivated and was saying all the right things in the meeting. So we gave him the book, the 21st Century, Business of the 21st Century, and like he's in the process of finishing it, and within like 2 days, you know, we're scheduling another meeting with him mañana, tomorrow. So that's my share the message and share my story and drop a message recently. So thank you guys.
Awesome.
Anybody else?
Well, I have one.
You go right ahead.
So to piggyback off of what someone said in the beginning, when they were saying that you should effortlessly have a conversation as opposed to just walking up to someone and just sharing your story and dropping the message. I was building up confidence for the past couple of months to share our story and drop the message at the same time in the initial meeting. And I had the opportunity to do so with someone that I met at the park when I was there with my children and husband. And she showed an interest in me as a mom. So I started talking there and like having small talk. And then I deepened the conversation a little bit more and realized that she was looking for an opportunity to grow. And she was open to mentorship, and she's looking for something to build and to get out of her situation. And so we shared our story. I shared our story, and I dropped a message. And I also used posture by saying, you know, I can't promise you anything, but maybe we can, you know, sit and have a cup of coffee or something, and to see if you're a perfect fit for what we do. And she did have a lot of questions, but I told her that, you know, I want to get back to spending time with my family, so we can sit down and talk more about that. But up to even before this meeting, we were still in contact. I was just about to put an X because she wasn't responding. But just as the meeting was going on, she said that she would like to meet Tuesday. So we scheduled Tuesday for 6:30 p.m. And this would be our first MG1 that would be doing ourselves. So
Awesome.
great job. Anyone else?
Carol, you got anything?
Sure. I can go. I can take the floor. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Share my story and dropped a message. Contact with a young fella today, a quite bright, intelligent fella. And before I even started to even drop my message and also to share my story, I built a relationship. I built some kind of common ground with him, shall I say. Usually when you talk to someone, you so who they are and what they're, depending on how the conversation goes. So one of the common grounds that one of the common icebreakers or common ground that I actually in a lot in Florida here in Tallahassee, they up here for school. They usually come from South Florida, West Palm Beach, Fort Lauderdale, Miami, this and that. And I'm a South Florida person myself, and that's usually how I break the common ground with them. And I was like, wow, man, what you doing up here? And then I'm up here for school and trying to get that degree, trying to do something with my life. And I'm like, that's cool, man. 'Cause that's I'm currently in school trying to do the same thing, but on the side, I actually am building this thing, building this business on the side with the mentoring of some of my multimillionaire mentors that are financially free, and they're teaching me how to do that as well too. So and it right away it catches their attention because they're striving to actually do more, just like you are. And I always thought, and that's always pretty comfortable. It's always pretty welcoming when you relate to someone in that way, especially when you're all trying to shoot for the same goal, but the end result is a little different. You're shooting a little bit further than what they ever thought they could do. So that's how I broke the ice with him, and that's how I shared my story with him. And and I talk about my wife. And the one thing about it, once I make that connection, of course, I also talk about my wife. Looking to do more than what a degree can actually do for us. And they be like, man, I understand. He said, man, I understand. I understand. I don't know. I just was getting a degree because a better opportunity for me. And I end up booking. And then I told him, I was like, I tell you what, usually my mentors don't take on, people just out of the blue, but let me talk to my mentor and actually see if we can bring you to the table to discuss, if we can actually help you with that. And he was like, definitely, man. And he was so interested. We actually scheduled for our meeting tomorrow, the next day. And that's how eager he was. He made time. He was like, man, I make time tomorrow, 6 o'clock tomorrow. We could definitely do it. And I was like, well, let me talk with my mentors first, but I'll shoot you a text. So that's how share my story and drop the message went.
Awesome.
Good job.
That's some high technique there, man.
Yeah. That was awesome. Thank you for sharing that experience with us. Is anyone else before we go on to the next segment?
Real quick, I forgot to say one more thing. Also, when you're like Aaron was saying, like everybody was saying, pretty much when you're edifying your mentors. A lot of times, I know for me, since I'm away from the team, and just for anybody in the future, if you have to move or whatever, instead of edifying your mentors, because they're people in your local area can't meet your mentors, edify the team that you always that you're associating with at the open or at different associations. I say that because if you say, "Oh yeah, I was glad to meet you, get you in front of my mentors," they're like thousands of miles away or hundreds of miles away. That's not going to really be possible. So if you say, "Oh well, I work with a team locally while my mentors are in XYZ area," and possibly, after we have a couple of meetings, I can get you in front of some of the team members I meet with from time to time, or something along those lines. And I say that because, like I said, you don't want to give like a false hope that, you're gonna say, oh, you're gonna meet my mentors, and then next thing you know, they don't meet them until like like the conference or at a spring leadership or something like that. So getting them in front of the team though will get them excited because they'll see, oh man, their mentors are in Atlanta or Florida, but they're with a team here that's treating them just like as they're part of their team, even though they're not. Oh, that's really cool. It's so a lot of camaraderie in wherever you go, basically. So it also it exposes them not only to the team but also to the whole BWW system. So yeah, that's pretty much what I want to say.
Awesome.
Good job. Thank you, Jonathan, for closing up our experiences with sharing our story and dropping the message. Next, we have a segment where new people. Were there any new people? Just wanted to say hi. There's more new people here. Any
No
new people?
No new people that I see today.
Okay. All right. So next we have a promo video coming up. Oh,
Go ahead, Jonathan.
Okay.
thank you.
Can y'all see it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Get ready to learn the best of extra coming up. You ready to rock and roll? It's gonna be awesome! I don't care what you do when it's time to go. It's time to go. I don't care who you are when it's time to go. It's time to go. Get ready, mind's on. It's about to go down.
Thank you, Jonathan.
No problem.
Thanks, Jonathan. That was an awesome promo video to remind us about the conference coming up with the conference.
Oh yeah.
Like you're about to say something. But before we move on to the wrap up, I'm going to share with you our schedule for the next PACE meeting. So for our host, is Navina. Sorry. Our host next Sunday will be Navina, and our product video will be an artistry video by Aaron. Then our stream is going to be by Tobias, book by Jarvis, and then our process huddle is going to be about MG1 and MG2, and then our function promo video will be done by Aaron, and then of course the wrap up will be done by Content Nadia.
Yes.
Awesome. All right, so this is the end of our meeting where we'll have our awesome coach and mentor and upline, Mr. Kenneth.
everybody knows that everybody knows I'm filling in for Camta and Naja. They are the mentors. Yeah. Because this is being recorded, you know.
Yeah,
Right, you know, and you guys saw the promo video for Winter Conference. You know, make sure that you get your ticket before January the 11th. After January the 11th, it's going to cost $180. You know, so the best thing to do is to get that ticket as soon as you can. If you can't afford it, then maybe you check with somebody upline and they could pay for it now and you pay them afterwards before the conference. Okay, and Tallahassee leaders, please make sure you guys have all transportation and everything finalized, you know, well in advance. You know, so we need to we need to get there. I mean, this is a one-time opportunity to meet multi-millionaires. I understand that they're going to have some real special material for us to listen to. See, when you go to a conference, there are three things to do. First, you arrive and you attend. You absorb all the information, and also how you take the notes has to be very careful. First, you know, you get the feel into, okay, but when you take the notes, take two types of notes: things that you've never heard before, and then things that you're going to apply. And when you write down the stuff you're going to apply, put it as a to-do list action item, so that when you leave the conference and the excitement, the external motivation has disappeared, you know, after about 3 days or so, you still have action items that you can go back and actually apply. So, you know, it's not a rock concert where you just go and have fun and come back and, oh, that was great. This is more than that. This is a business trip. This is tax deductible, and it's extremely applicable. Okay, and then of course, once you get back, then you want to apply and action. You know, BWW has had over 40 years, over 45 years of experience. They know that every 3 months you need a pump up. Okay, yeah. And so this is our pump up. You know, it's like if you're on a NASCAR and you're going around the track, you're going to have to stop at the pit stop and change those tires and oil and whatever it is that they do. Same thing for us mentally. You know, we need an external, temporary external motivation, and we also need more gems and more applicable items that we could use for our business, because the business is fluid and it's always changing. So you want to go and get the latest information. You know, it is very, very difficult. In fact, I don't know anybody who's gone platinum and beyond who does not go to every function. So it's not whether or not you should go, it's do you get to go? You know, do everything in your power to get there. Okay, if you don't go, then it's very difficult for your uplines to work with you, because they can't, because their experience and the knowledge they have is different than yours, and you don't want your upline to be regurgitating what he has heard from 40 multimillionaires in one weekend. It's very difficult. So the best thing that you could do for yourself, understand that you going to the function, you're not doing your upline a favor. You're doing yourself a favor. Okay, so definitely make sure that you get there and get all the logistics taken care of. Now, if you haven't as yet, book your room. You know, because the double beds are limited. Okay, and of course you're gonna want to get in there on Friday. You can get there on Saturday, but that's gonna be very difficult because everybody is coming in on Friday. Okay, so you want to beat the rush and get in there, get in the hotel room, get yourself situated, iron all your shirts, you know, and all of that sort of stuff. Okay, all right. And in terms of sharing the message and dropping and sharing your story and dropping the message, for me, I see it as networking. It's not recruiting. What I'm doing is carefully selecting. You only need to make $200,000 in this business annually. You only need to have 3 top of the line creme de la creme people. So all you gotta do is go out there and have a lot of conversations. You have a lot of conversations. Be natural. Listen to people, like what Aaron was saying. You know, listen to people and just be natural. You know, and enjoy yourself. If you think that it's a task, then you're not gonna do it. Okay, look at it as helping people. Okay, and so you're a talent searcher, and it's a search and rescue mission. It's not you're trying to get anybody. You're not trying to convince anybody. Okay, you're just out there connecting with people and seeing who wants to come on this journey with you. Okay, and that way it's a lot of fun. In fact, after this and after phone team, I gotta go and get my numbers for the day, you know, because I was doing other stuff today. Anyway, so let's give Carol a big round of applause for handling the. And for Crystal, I think this is the first time in the new format that you're hosting. Give Crystal a big hand. And of course, Brandon, you know, that wonderful testimony. He used a little bit too much Kenneth. It should have been more Canton. That's okay. You know, and congratulations to everybody. We have some movers and shakers in the business. They're in Tallahassee, you know, and up there in North Carolina and Virginia. So things are coming along real good. Campton, now you're actually back in town. They should be back in town soon. But the reason why we're having it here is because they're coming back and you know, they wouldn't have been here in time for Pase. So we're going to see them Tuesday at our information session, which we only have twice. We only have twice a month. And it's $10 per person now. So if you're in Tallahassee or in some other place where you're paying $5 or $3, we have no tears for you, okay? You know, okay. But the mindset though, before I leave, one thing I want to share with you, the mindset. And the mindset I have is that if I'm going to pay $10 to go to an information session, you can bet your last dollar that I'm going to put that to full use. If it's just me alone, that's $10 per person. But if I bring 3 people, 4 people with me, that's $2 per person. Okay, so it motivates me, it fires me up to get out there, have as many conversations as I have. The master cascadable habit you need to have is conversations. You know, if your car is broken down, have conversations. Okay, if the boss is giving you trouble, have a lot more conversations. You got worries and problems at home, more conversations. It solves everything. Okay, I don't mean in the spiritual realm, but here in the physical realm. Okay, and with that, I guess we're finished for the evening, and we'll see you guys next week.
Awesome.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Bye-bye.
But to make it happen.
Okay.
The big